So I'll be talking a little bit about the minimum equity standard for the Illinois Shines program, just providing a brief overview of what this means. But beginning in program year 2023-2024, each participating approved vendor and designee must meet a required minimum percentage of their project workforce that includes equity eligible persons. And this minimum equity standard requirement for the 2023-2024 program year is 10% equity eligible persons for an entity's workforce, and it increases incrementally to 30% by 2030. And for our program team to ensure that approved vendors and designees are complying with this new requirement, we require a couple different submissions and reports across the course of the program year. And those include an annual minimum equity standard compliance plan, a mid-year report, and an end-of-year report that are required from all participating entities in the program. So that initial minimum equity standard compliance plan includes a statement of intent to comply with the standard, current workforce demographic information, and then an outreach plan that will be used to hire equity eligible persons, among other criteria. There's a couple other things included that I will share on the next slide. And then at the time of the end of year report for the minimum equity standard, it's going to be an opportunity for approved vendors and designees to kind of prove to the program administrator that they did meet the requirement and have achieved that 10% of their project workforce being equity eligible persons. And here on the left side of the screen, we've got a little chart that shows when kind of the deadlines are for each of these different reporting requirements for the MES requirement. And these are dates for the 2023-2024 program year, but future program years will likely have very similar dates. So you'll see at the very start of a program year, June 1 of the program year, that's the deadline for the submission of the minimum equity standard compliance plan. So again, that kind of report that shows how your organization intends to comply with the compliance with the minimum equity standard over the course of that program year. And then the end of the year, so at end of December, mid-year reports are due that are kind of a brief check-in just to make sure everybody's on track. And entities that are struggling to meet the requirement will receive some extra resources from our team to kind of help them along. And then June 1st of the following program year is that the deadline for the submission of that next year's compliance plan. And then the end of year report for the previous year is due sometime in July of the following program years to give you enough time to kind of gather all that information and submit it to us for that end of year report. And I do want to note here that approved vendors and designees who are equity eligible contractors are, by virtue of their participation in the program as an EEC, already in full compliance with the equity accountability system and do not need to submit an MES compliance plan. So just wanted to make that note as well. And Mike, we can go to the next slide. So the initial minimum equity standard compliance plan that's required at the top of the program year must include a couple of things. They're laid out here on the screen. So the first thing is a statement of intent to comply with the standard for the given program year, and kind of a commitment to hire a diverse project workforce, and a narrative description of how the applicant will meet these commitments. And the second thing is projected number of workers in the project workforce for the entity and the demographic breakdown of that workforce by a couple different categories. So race, gender, and then we ask for whether any of your project workforce participated in job training or workforce development programs, or if they are equity eligible persons in a different kind of category. And then we ask for plans for the use of equity eligible contractors, if applicable. We ask for applicant classification, so whether an entity is minority owned, woman owned, disabled owned, veteran owned, or small business, if applicable. And then finally, the bulk of the plan is really a communication plan for outreach that your entity is planning to use to increase the utilization of EEPs and equity eligible contractors. So kind of all those things make up the minimum equity standard compliance plan that's submitted to our program team via an online form. So you'll be kind of guided through all of these questions. Next slide. And then a really helpful resource for entities that are trying to meet the minimum equity standard is the Illinois Power Agency's Workforce Equity Portal. So this is an online portal that's managed by the agency, and it's designed to help connect clean energy companies with equity eligible persons who are looking to work in the clean energy sector in Illinois. So this portal can be used in a variety of different ways. We've laid a couple of them out here on the screen. So for employers who are looking to hire equity eligible persons to meet this minimum equity standard, they can post job opportunities that are accessible to EEPs. And then for job seekers that are hoping to apply to jobs as an equity eligible person, they can register in the portal as an equity eligible person and apply to jobs with the AVs that are hiring specifically EEPs. So it goes both ways. Either employers can register their job postings, and then job seekers can register as an EEP and apply to jobs via the portal. So a very helpful resource, and I encourage you all to take a look, and the link is here at the top of the screen.